We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I got the game, I got it, it's here. It came by way of one of our viewers, someone who had seen our previous Axis and Allies videos. This is the Axis and Allies Anniversary Edition. This is not the one that is in stores now. This is an actual original version of the Axis and Allies
This is the one
Anniversary
you
Edition.
wanted to get.
Yes, this is the one that I wanted to get, and naturally, shortly after I got this, they re-released it.
Of course.
But that's good for people who want to play this game, because this is a lot of people consider this the ultimate version of Axis and Allies, the one to get more than any other, and they're mostly not wrong about that. We're going to go over the game, though I do have to say that we're not going to fully go over the components because this is mostly unpunched, and I don't want to punch the unpunchedness. And thank you, by the way. You know who you are. They reached out after watching some of the previous Axis and Allies videos that we've done, and the guy had it, and he offered it to me for a very good price, because this used to go for ridiculous sums of money. I don't know that it does anymore now that they've re-released it.
Yeah, I guess
but people
maybe.
don't know that this years ago, they put out the Anniversary Edition of Axis and Allies, which is this big expanded version of the game with some new rules and new units and a big glorious board and all those sort of stuff. But it only came out for a short period of time. It was sort of expensive when it came out. It was $100, and at the time that was a lot for a board game. And then it came and went and disappeared. It went out of print very quickly, and prices went through the roof. Secondary market, you were paying $200, $300, $400
crazy.
plus. I've seen it listed at times for like $5, which is absurd. So yeah, this was offered to me for the price that it was originally sold for. So super
beat
thankful
that.
for that. Yeah. So let's check it out. You can see the box is enormous. In fact,
Yeah, it's really ridiculous.
is there
Let's do a size.
is there a box handy? So like the current Axis and Allies boxes come in this size. So you can
Word.
Yeah, you can see it's a big difference. Now, for people who know their Axis and Allies, currently you can get the Europe 1940 and Pacific 1940 and combine them together for what they call Global, which is this big, huge, mega version of it, where it's absolutely enormous.
That's the one where we were holding the
Yeah,
big board up?
yeah.
Okay.
And this kind of is like that in one box, but made more manageable on a slightly smaller scale. So let's take a look at some of this stuff. I want to be so careful with this.
I understand.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, completely unpunched. Whoa. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, gee, yeah. See, even these are unpunched. Oh, dude.
Everybody out there realize he's suffering through this. This is the stuff Eric does for you.
See, that's the sheets with the country info and all that. Okay, so you can see this version, the anniversary version of the game. Usually, Axis and Allies comes with Japan, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and the United States. The anniversary edition adds Italy, which is a nice addition. And these are see, it's not as pretty as it could have been, because this should have been, let's see, Italy's supposed to be...
Oh, it makes a picture? There we go.
That's much better, see?
They put some thought into it.
Absolutely. In each box...
Okay, so if you were... So this is kind of cool. I think we've gone over this before, but if I said I want to be United Kingdom, you're just basically handing this box to them.
Yeah, you got that, and the card that is on these things has all the info that you need as far as where to put your pieces and how much they cost and how many things go in each spot. All still bagged. Look at that. Shouldn't be opening this.
He's breaking a sweat.
Okay, dice and chips, which Axis and Allies players know the deal there. Oh, the industrial complexes, anti-aircraft, and the extra guys in there are China, because this game incorporates rules for Chinese troops.
Well, but they're not...
The United States controls them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now let's take a look at the board. The board is different than most Axis and Allies boards. It's divided into 3 parts, and each one of the parts is about the size of a board game itself. So you got the U.S., that goes there, and that goes there. So a nice size board, and really, great artwork.
Wow.
So that's the board.
Why did they just fold it? Why is it in 3? Can you play it separately, or is it?
No.
Okay.
I imagine just because it would have been
Just
cumbersome.
easier to, it would have been heavy and probably would have broke eventually.
So I get what people are going to want to know, but we'll get to that. Let me put my stuff away first, because see, it should have been like this in the first place, because it forms a box. Okay, so one more time. Okay, so differences in from regular Axis and Allies. One, of course, we've already talked about. Italy is in this game, and that is not in the standard Axis and Allies versions of the game. There's also troops for China, and there's rules for controlling China in the game, and that is not in the standard game. Technically, the Chinese troops are controlled by the U.S., but they operate independently. They don't sort of intermingle with regular troops and so on and so forth. This adds cruisers and destroyers to the game, which are now in the game already, but in earlier versions, like the earliest versions of Axis and Allies, those types of ships weren't in it. But now it's got cruisers and destroyers, which add a great element to the game. Destroyers are kind of anti-submarine ships, and they have abilities to sort of suppress sub-abilities.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And cruisers are, just smaller battleships. This version of the game is the one, I believe this was the initial one, though it might have been the revised edition, that introduced the idea of victory cities instead of the way you used to win the game. You used to win the game by securing the capitals of your enemy.
Oh, okay.
But now there's 18 victory cities on the board, and so when you capture a certain number of victory cities, that's how you win.
So the object is to capture all the victory cities, or just the opponents, all their victory cities?
A certain amount.
Okay.
A certain amount will get you your victory. The Anniversary Edition has 2 different kind of scenarios. You can start in 1941 or 1942, and depending on when you're starting, that slightly changes the
where you are, you are.
Yeah, like how the troops are laid out and the income and so on.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can, just the setup is ever so slightly different in that case. And obviously one is pre-Pearl Harbor, the other is post-Pearl Harbor. That's the big difference there. Anniversary Edition does still have research and development, which is something that is no longer in the base game. That's where you can spend some money to research and get better technology and stuff like that. So that's in this game.
Can you get a nuclear bomb?
No.
Okay.
That is only in the original
I remember
version.
you mentioning that from
Yeah.
the original one. I guess they thought that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, no. The Anniversary Edition also is what introduced sort of national objectives. And that every country has certain objectives that if they meet them on any given turn, they get extra money. So, for instance, Japan, the Greater East India Co-Prosperity Sphere. So they gain 5 IPCs per turn, that's the money, if the Axis powers control Manchuria and several other different regions. They gain other money for other goals. So it gives you sort of, other than just strictly conquest, it gives you specific goals for each country to...
That's a cool idea. So you have chances to make more money doing other things other than just conquering and getting...
Right. It gives you a little sort of more focused things to do. And they tend to be sort of historically accurate. So you end up replaying the war a little more true to the way the war played out. The Anniversary Edition, that's right, we were talking about units before, destroyers and cruisers. This one also introduces artillery. So unlike previous games, now artillery units are part of the game. Artillery is kind of a support unit, where if you have artillery fighting with infantry or with armor, they support one another and you get bonuses and so on. And artillery is different than anti-aircraft guns, which still operate similar to the way they have in previous games. So I guess the big question always seems to be, well, what version of the game that I want? What version of Axis Allies do I want? And I'd say if you're a fan of Axis Allies and you already know that you like the game and you want the best one, this is the best one.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go, you can go nuts and get the Europe and Pacific and put them together, but you need an enormous table and space and a lot of time. If you want something that's a little more manageable but still has all the complexity that was added in that big global version, the re-released Anniversary Edition I think is like $60 or $70, which is a pretty good price for all that you get and as excellent as it is. And I think it's probably the best version of the game. It is the one that if you're a fan, that's the one you want. That's the one that you want to play.
And this one is exactly the same as the one they just came back out with.
In fact, yeah, the re-release one is exactly this, except they made some clarifications to the rulebook to make it a little clearer. So they tweaked the rules for the better.
Okay.
So actually, the re-release is the better one to get anyway than this. But otherwise, yeah, what is in this original box that used to be so sought after, and I don't know, maybe it still is. I really don't know. But that's what you're getting in the re-release version, which is currently available now, like wherever. Definitely the best version of the game. If you're an Axis and Allies fan, this is the one that you want more than anything else. And for other versions, check out our other video, because I think we covered every other version of the game pretty much.
Even the rare one.
Yeah, because I have a copy of a Genko Games version of pre-Milton Bradley version of Axis and Allies. This was a version that came out in New Zealand, and it's pretty rad just to own it.
Yeah.
Again, thanks to a viewer, so thank you for hooking me up with that. So there you go. People have been asking for us to take a look at Anniversary Edition, so now we have.
Don't make Eric punch all this stuff out.
Especially not, because awesome. I'm going to end up buying the re-release one so I can actually play it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play this one.
And then I'll eventually get to play.
Maybe.
If I'm lucky.
All right.
Bye!
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.